Omega.
Yes.
So, apparently, Sting thought it would be a good idea to commit petty larceny on Raw, and in which he hires a garbage disposal company to help destroy this plaster bust that didn't look much like that looked like an actor that was paid to look like Seth Rollins.
Well, I've never heard of petty larceny.
Yeah, it's like an artist. It's like artist larceny. You know, I was going somewhere with this. I'm not going anywhere with this anymore. Just like this angle, it's just like Sting coming back and having a random title match isn't going anywhere either. Let's start the show. Hello everybody and welcome to Woo Get Serious. My name is Gunnar, that is Omega BR.
I'm currently doing fantasy football and I need a good tight end. Unrelated.
That is absolutely disgusting, much like our wonderful technical producer, Mr. Yankum DDS. My point exactly. Joining us this week also is that guy over there who I believe is supposed to keep 100 feet away from Sonny at all times.
If he's talking about little old me, I'm sure I can get that overturned with a friendly judge and a nice night out with beer. But hello, it's that Jester.
All right, everybody, and here we go with the news. So, Jimmy Snuka's attorney claims it is very unlikely he will be able to stand trial, as he is wheelchair-bound. That is not a joke. He's suffering from partial dementia due to years of concussion-related injury and has a limited long-term memory. For whatever reason, the autopsy report from the death was withheld from public release until now, and the information within it, along with testimony on other domestic incidents involving Snuka and his own conflicting versions on what happened, have prompted the prosecution. There's like 3 sentences in there, Omega, and you should have had a couple periods in there. But yeah, so apparently Snuka is not fit to stand trial. Are you surprised? Are you shocked? This does not surprise me.
No, he's like 1,000 years old.
This is weird. I'm just going to come out and say it. This is weird. I don't know about the crime itself and why did Snuka have somebody he was friends with in this office that didn't, prosecute this, or what do you think happened?
I don't want to go all conspiracy, but did he maybe piss somebody off?
That could have happened.
I think it's just a matter of, it's one of those cases that, they didn't really have. Remember, this happened 30 years ago when crime technology isn't what it was, or wasn't what it was today. So,
Hi there. Yeah, Jester, your mic is open.
let's listen.
This is a professional show.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on for.
There we go.
Okay.
Anyway, I think it's just a matter of, it just wasn't pursued. I'm sure Snuka was kind of, he was on the road at the time. It just wasn't really pursued. They didn't really, all the pegs didn't fall into place. I think they're doing it now, I guess, because somebody said something got somebody's attention, basically.
So the whole internet just heard me let my cat in from outside. Big deal.
Well, Well, we didn't know exactly what you were doing until you told us, my friend. So anyway, yeah, Snuka will probably not stand trial for this, and we'll probably never, see anything about it. Basically, I'm not surprised by that. It's not really something that you would think that it would have. At this point, it would happen to him, but we'll see. Anyway, let's move on. Do you want me to do this?
I got it, I guess.
Okay.
Lana will be out up to 4 months after a wrist injury she suffered while training in the ring at a live event. WWE announced the official signing of Kana. NXT talent are unhappy with how Blue Pants is being used, as she was given a high-profile spot in Brooklyn despite not being signed and not having to do the daily training at the Performance Center. She also gets to sell her own merch and work indie dates and has increased her prices, likely making more than some NXT talents. Word is officials really want to validate Eva Marie by making her NXT Women's Oh,
it's a real thing.
I'm sorry. I thought you were kidding. I thought Omega was kidding. That's a real thing. They want to validate her by making Eva Marie NXT Women's Champion with the story of proving her doubters wrong through hard work. Eva Marie proving her doubters wrong through hard work.
Okay, so
make her a female Cena.
So according to the Melts and the Alvarez, Eva Marie is going to win the championship off of Bayley as a face against the face Bayley. And they think that she is going to be so super over from all of this, and that she's gotten so much better that she deserves a shot, and that they want to push her to the moon because they found her, they made her, and she's their star. And because of all that, you're going to get Eva Marie shoved down your throat. Whether or not this is actually going to be the case is a whole other question. Now, here's my question, and something that's really interesting to me. So apparently the Charlotte-Nikki Bella match has been moved up to Raw. Will they do it where... Will they do it where, if they'll bring it down to the minute of like Nikki Bella broke the record for like 6 seconds or like 18 seconds or something like that, and then Charlotte will win the the Divas title. Question.
I wouldn't put it past them to do it like that. Lord knows that's on top of the sneaky things they've done in the past, that sounds just like them. But I better stop right here. I'll start ranting about Eva Marie being a new female Cena, and I'll have to get Pepto-Bismol or something.
I'm so angry about the Eva Marie thing. I can't even think about stupid Nikki Bella bullshit. And you're probably right. That's probably what will happen. Oh, it was at exactly 7:59 when the previous one ended, and it is now
the previous one too. It will be. They'll call it the previous one too. It'll be like, the previous champion, and they won't mention AJ Lee at all.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys, I'm eating Cheez-Its.
It's okay. Omega's drafting apparently, so we're gonna just jump right in.
Like I said before with Eva Marie, they want to validate her because she is them. She's their prospect from the ground up, molded like clay, like hot, sticky, gooey clay. You might get in your mouth.
Clay isn't hot, sticky, or gooey.
Yes, you're thinking about something else entirely, and spit, damn it. But I'd like to say something to modify what you just said. She's not the prospect, she's their product, literally. Not something human, but something, made up entirely.
In sentences that I
what the
think
best
that
thing is?
What's that?
If she was given an offer to where, I don't know, some like movie company or something came along and they were like, we'll pay off your WWE contract to the WWE for any, I'm sure there's some kind of agreement in her, separation agreement clause in her contract, and they said, we'll pay that for you and give you, millions of dollars to come be in this movie. I guarantee you she would leave. She does not give two shits about wrestling.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm so fucking... Why? Why her? What the fuck has she ever done? She's no fucking talent. She doesn't even goddamn try. We laughed at the Bellas.
She got better with Kendrick. She got better with Kendrick to an extent, but
yeah, that's because the guy's a goddamn miracle worker.
Also, former WWE champion, if you remember.
That's right, the Brian Kendrick, former WWE champion.
So, in things that I never ever thought I would say ever, Josh Matthews and Madison Rain got married last week. Kathy Colas, the mother of the Bellas, is engaged to John Laurinaitis.
Well,
what?
He's been in the two Bella vaginas. Now he's got to get in the one that they came out of.
Minneapolis is expected to be the WrestleMania 33 location, which is really cool because that's a good town for it. And Fox is apparently working on a pro wrestling drama. Does anybody have any news on that? Because I'm interested to hear about that.
First I've heard.
I'm not. What was the last Fox drama that was any good? 24?
Melrose Place.
Was that on Fox?
Yeah. What did you think it was on?
Oh, I didn't know. I never watched Melrose Place.
Several.
I never saw 90210 either.
In a complex.
Yeah,
in Los Angeles.
It was a spinoff of 90210.
Don't you think it was on CPS?
It was that Aaron Spelling project. Yes, I know what Melrose Place is. I never watched it. I didn't know what channel it was on. Now we know what kind of TV that Omega BR enjoys.
So apparently, there's a book trilogy called The Book Red Turns Dollar Green, and I'm doing my research right now, and apparently that's what it's supposed to be based off of, and that's going to be the pilot episode. It's going to be the pilot episode of that. Has anyone ever heard of it?
Nope.
Alright, well, I guess I'll look into it a little bit more. But for now, I think that's the end of the news. So I think we can just jump right into...
Yankum's favorite dance move when he goes to the bar is Party of Five.
Oh!
Ah!
You call...
So are we done with the Fox drama?
We are. What do you call Gibson's Garden?
Oh, for the love of fuck. Here we go.
Melrose Place.
I
Yeah.
hate you guys.
15.
What does a fox say for you, if that'll cheer you up?
Gunner,
Please
do
give me
it.
the negative 1,000
Do it.
points for that.
Do it, Gunner. You know what to do. You get him out of here.
Yo.
Alright, so 15-minute time limit. This week, since Nedgester's not in here, we're going to talk about... Oh, there he is. We're going to talk about... we're going to try to talk about some stuff that's been going on that we've been kind of ignoring. Like, King of Trios was over the weekend. I'm reading up on some results here, and it seems like a very interesting ending to it at the very least. I heard Phoenix swore really, really loud.
That was a pretty weird situation. Apparently during his match on night 2, it was a rather blatant thing where Hollywood was in the corner and he kind of flipped him the double bird and said the F word as loud for the entire place to hear, and everybody really got kind of quiet and then started a "you can't say that" chant.
Oh God. So yeah, there were a few things at the King of Trios thing that was interesting. It was the first night saw. I'm not going to give any spoilers too much. We're not going to spoil too much for you. But the first night saw United Nations against Team Attack. Then we had the BDK going up against Team Fight Club Pro. And let's see here. Crown and Court, which is Princess Kimberly and Los Ice Creams. And they faced the Arcane Horde, which is the Batiri, and Oleg the Usurper, which is apparently everyone's favorite new wrestler in Chikara right now.
The story behind Oleg is that he's kind of a big, goofy Viking type guy, and he's kind of been trying to make friends with the Batiri. He's wearing their face paint and everything. But he's also technically under contract to the Devastation Corporation, specifically Sidney Bacabella. And so he was kind of, he's kind of forced to do certain things in his matches and such. And that whole storyline came to a head on, I think it might have even been night 2.
Right. Let me see here. And then it was Devastation Corp versus the BWO.
Oh, by the way, how did Blue Meanie look there?
I saw some photos. He looked like he always does, basically.
Yep, he looks exactly the same.
He put all the weight back on. Damn it, I was kind of hoping he'd keep it off.
Well, it's not like a ton of weight on him, it's just it's a lot of it's gone, though. Dasher's Dugout versus Battleborn was next. Battleborn had Icarus, right? I'm just trying to get things here going. And then it was there was the Colony, a couple members of the Colony, and Pharaoh Ant. So Fire Ant, Worker Ant, and Pharaoh Ant against the Bullet Club, which was AJ Styles and the Bucks.
Ooh, really? I would have loved to have seen that.
Right. And then it was in the main event. Wait. Yeah, then the main event. It was the Gentleman's Club squaring off against Team AAA. Apparently, Aerostar entered with a flamethrower, which sounds awesome.
Yeah, he had like a flamethrower on his knee and blew it in a pretty cool scene.
I mean, King of Trios is my favorite Chikara event of the year. There's definitely a whole bunch of stuff that we should watch. That we'll probably end up going over at some point or another. What did you think? What did you think of all of this? Is this out? I think this is out, right?
Yeah, I think it's out now.
There's just a whole bunch of cool stuff that's like in King of Trios that they end up doing every year, and the team that won really surprised me, to be perfectly honest. I'm kind of shocked that they let that team win. And the finals must have been something spectacular.
Yeah, it was a big opportunity for them to kind of give a match that you couldn't really see anywhere else necessarily. I mean, I guess you could, but basically the general feeling from what I've heard and seen and everything on social media and all that is that it was a pretty good show. It was, it's kind of easy to get lost in the shuffle when the majority of the teams were the Chikara teams with this whole Challenge of the Immortals thing. All the 10 or so teams that were representing this whole thing, this round robin tournament, and then also the fact that you had a couple British teams with guys who really impressed. They weren't necessarily known by a lot of people, but then they really impress in the ring, which is always a good thing. And of course, you have the spectator teams of Blue World Order, and everybody knows who Bullet Club and Team AAA are at the moment. Beyond the tournament matches, you had things like the annual tag gauntlet on night 3, which had a lot of action. There weren't a ton of surprises this year. It was all pretty straightforward in what we were getting. Sometimes they'll bring in somebody and it's kind of a shock, but they did do a pretty decent job of things like resolving some storylines, like what I said with Oleg, and also kind of continuing some, starting some new ones. We did see some people who haven't been around in a while. They were, I don't know if I would really call them a surprise, and they used them for, to kind of further those things. It's hard to explain without really spoiling a lot, but, you have your neat things. Pharaoh Ant, by the way, is Amasis. He was, being a pharaoh ant, which is a real species of ant, as I understand it. And like things like everybody brings their A game. It's trios. It is the biggest Chikara event. It's personally one of my favorite events of the year, period, because it's such a culmination of a lot of ideas and a lot of different wrestling sets and a lot of just fandom. Really, it's a very fan friendly event. The whole thing with Phoenix, he did this where apparently he kind of stormed out on night 2. Nobody really knows what was said. He kind of grabbed a bunch of his merch and then left. But of course, he was back for night 3, and he issued an apology on the microphone. And of course, everybody forgave him. Nobody wants to see somebody. That's not something you would do at a Chikara show, of course. But nobody wants to see him not compete or anybody else. Other things on the Ray Devella, I can never pronounce it. The king of the flippy guys, the little mini round robin tournament. Well, not a round robin.
Ray Velladores.
Yeah, there you go. I heard this year it was pretty average compared to previous years, and by average I mean you still have some amazing action, but a lot of the competitors were people who've been in it before. There weren't really any surprises. There were like 4 guys announced and 4 guys that were a mystery, but the 4 mystery guys turned out to be guys that had guys like I think Shinron, people who've been in it before. So it was a lot of good action I heard, but not necessarily show stealing.
Alright, and with that being said, we're going to move on from our little Chikara talk here. We're going to switch gears. I want to talk about...
I would recommend, though, watching it. It sounds like a really good night, and you can watch it, I believe, if you subscribe to Chikaratopia, which is Chikara's sort of WWE network, in a way. You get a lot of their past events and everything.
I wanted to change gears here, and I wanted to, I know Yankum is probably going to be like, oh my god, we shouldn't be talking about this already, but I want to talk about Raw last night, and I want to talk about that one segment with the New Day.
Okay, are you talking about where they were talking in the back with Seth?
Yes. Okay, is it just me, or is the New Day actually getting pushed to the moon? When I say to the moon, I mean like they might have, when the New Day decides to break up, all of these guys are going to be main eventers, including Xavier.
Well, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But continue, NJ. Sorry.
But they're all over.
They're all over, definitely. But remember, when you go from breaking up a popular unit, you have several members who have varying degrees of success and unsuccess. We've seen that sure as hell with the Shield. Now, I don't know that when the New Day eventually breaks up, that all of their members are going to be a main event horde of, unstoppable badasses. But, I'm thinking after last night, well, they sure could pull off that they can do fun, weird, wild, and unexpected things, like Big E eating a kazoo.
Well, I think there's an interesting juxtaposition between having the New Day there and Edge and Christian there, because, and they talked about this on Austin's podcast a lot later in the night, but basically when they were doing things like the kazoo and, the big hats and the glasses and everything, well, the fashion was more about trying to kind of be visual, but the stuff like the kazoos and everything, they were really having fun, and they thought if they thought it was funny, then, the crowd would. And I think that's kind of what's happening with the New Day. They've got this, really basic, boring, won't get over gimmick that everybody knew would not happen, except apparently for Vince McMahon.
Me.
Well, I mean the original gimmick of them staying positive and being faces. Everybody.
I'm pretty sure I called it as soon as they came out that was going to be awesome. Gunner, didn't I call that as soon as
You did call it. You did call it, and I did want to talk about it because you called it, but I wanted to talk about it because of that promo that happened. I thought that it was actually a super epic promo. Having all of those people in that promo at once. The rub that the New Day got there is pretty substantial. Going up against the Dudleys, one of the best tag teams of all time, and then Edge and Christian just randomly showing up. Come on, guy. That's pretty ballsy. And to give it to these guys who are doing this ridiculous gimmick, it is something else. For a second there, I thought Edge and Christian and the Dudleys were going to face off again. And that would have been something that would have, set off Attitude Era, triggers all day, every day.
I probably would have needed a new pair of shorts if that had happened. But I was fine with them, being on the same side. I could definitely see where they would have a mutual respect for one another, considering their history. So it made total sense for them to, not turn against one another, and team together to make fun of this new team.
Right.
They're so good. I love New Day, and I knew I was going to love New Day, and everybody was like, no, this is terrible, it's racist, it's going to be bad, and I was like, no, it's going to be good, and I was right. I'm not right very often, but when I'm right, goddamn can I call it, because these guys are just going out there and having a fuck of a good time with a shitty gimmick and making it work.
One thing I didn't like, however, about the whole segment was how Seth had to be the one that got punked out. And it wouldn't be that big of a deal, except we're back
He's
to
the fucking champion, goddammit!
Well, we're not
He's
even
still
that.
getting pooped on.
Not even that. It's the fact that we're back to the same old thing where, it would be one thing for these guys to poop on him, but then the Authority, who supposedly want him to win because he was the picked. Is that the end?
Yeah, that's the whole 15 minutes.
Oh, that went by pretty quick.
That's what she said.
Well, they supposedly want him to win and everything, but, then they always dump on him, and Stephanie implies this ham-fisted thing where, he doesn't want to listen to her because she's a woman and all that good stuff, and then, Triple H puts him in 2 matches, and then he loses both of them, and then he throws a tantrum, and then, they allegedly want him to be because he's their guy, but then they don't, and,
etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's move on here. I want ice cream.
I could do with some ice cream. Look at a swirl cone.
I'd swirl your mom's cone.
And -10.
Come on. There it is. Yank him on top of that stuff. I'll just let you guys think about that one. With the ratings. Yank him GES.
Alright, so this week, Impact saw a 20% jump to 335,000 from 279,000 viewers. Holy shit. That's impressive. I mean, those still aren't good numbers, but that's impressive, a 20% jump. ROH did 144,000. SmackDown drew 1.981 million. That's down 10% from the 2.195 last week. And the Raw number is delayed because holiday. That's it.
So, birthdays. Annette Jester.
And with the birthdays on the 8th, we have the Barbarian, the Great Kabuki, one of my personal favorites from Stampede Wrestling, Lodi, Raven, and Reckless Youth, and no one other than that had a birthday on the 8th. You're going to make me say him, aren't you?
I'm going to give you positive points for not saying it.
David.
Shut up!
Lord, why? On the 9th, we have Intro Cable? Intoxical? I don't know. It could be Invictus for all I know.
No, we're not playing Vampire the Masquerade, Net Jester. Jesus Christ.
That is something we could do for Halloween if you guys wanted.
I know.
I don't think so.
I'll tell you later. On the 10th, we have Rain, and followed by the legendary superstar Billy Graham. Then Steve Kern, the Blueprint Matt Morgan, Don the Rock Morocco, Yamamoto, and Drake Younger. On the 11th, we have Sojourner Bolt. Okay, all right. How do you pronounce that then?
Sojourner.
Sojourner, all right. And followed by...
You could have said Sojo and been fine.
I could have said Soldier of Roses and it would have been fine, but moving on. And
No, because it's racist to mispronounce that name.
You're racist.
You're whack-a-moles. And finally, we have the legendary impresario of ECW himself, Paul Heyman. On the 12th, we have Road Warrior Animal and the Shocker. On the 13th, we have Shane Hagadon. Hagadon? There's a Hagadon? I wonder if he's related to Hagrid. Anyway, and we also on the 13th have Angelina Love. Rounding out the week on the 14th, we have Gino Hernandez and Satoshi Kojima.
And now it is time for This Week in Wrestling with Omega BR.
Yes, This Week in Wrestling History, circa 1956, where Pepper Gomez defeats Gene Kelly for the NWA Texas Heavyweight title in Houston, Texas, beginning his fourth reign. The title had been held up after a match between the two a week earlier. Jump to 1961, where Cyclone and Hurricane Smith defeat Man Mountain Campbell and Stan Stasiak to win the Toronto NWA International Tag Team titles in Toronto, Ontario. And in 1990, Kim Duck, aka Tiger Chung Lee, defeats Invader number 1 for the WWC Caribbean Heavyweight title in Bayamon, Puerto Rico, ending Invader's 5th title reign. And that was This Week in Wrestling History.
All right, everybody, and happy trails. Happy trails to the Happy Trails segment this week. So we're going straight into points.
Are we? Are we really?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just calling for time because I had to type.
Right, because you need to do stuff. Right?
All right, so no, I got it. I set it all up last week. So, beginning with the points, there is 500 points to Omega BR because I like pie as well, which is a reference to last week's post show that none of you would have heard. Negative 272 points to NetJester for showing up. That'll learn ya. Probably not. Then I felt merciful and gave NetJester his full 32,596 points back. No, I'm just kidding. Sweep the leg. Negative 32,596 points to NetJester. Negative 15 to Gunner for saying ladies and germs in the pre-show. Fuck you. Don't do that. It's lame. Negative 400 points to Omega BR for making us late with Fantasy Hand Egg. Not cool. Negative 20 to Gunner for being late. Negative 5 to Gunner for the terrible joke at the start of the show. Negative 50 points to everybody because I'm so angry about the Eva Marie thing. I have to take my frustration out somehow, goddammit. And then I gave Gunner and Omega, you guys, your 50 points back, and I'm sorry, it's not your fault. I should take it out on you. Negative 1,000 points to NetJester. What does the go fuck yourself say? 50 points to Gunner for affirming that I was right about the New Day again. And then 10 more points to Gunner for that's what she said. Then negative 10 for saying your mom. 25 points to NetJester for not saying David Arquette's name. Then negative 25 points for not pronouncing Sachin Bolt's name correctly. And then another negative 15 to NetJester for the stupid Harry Potter joke. And 15 points to Omega BR for that Spanish pronunciation. It was fantastic. So, this week for the show totals, NetJester got negative leaked. That was not on purpose. It just kind of happened. Giving him a final total of negative 33,661, which is a 95.86% change. Gunner got 10 points for the whole show, bringing him up to 104, which is a positive 89.36% change. And finally, Omega BR scored 115 points, bringing him up to 313, which is a 41.92% change. That's it for the points. You like how I figured out how to do the
percentage there? Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. I like that.
What should we watch this week in wrestling? E-Income DDS.
Well, I'm going to watch Raw. I didn't get to. I was burying my goat. And no, that's not a euphemism for something. My goat actually died. So I'm going to watch Raw.
NetJester, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
First of all, let me say my legitimate condolences to you and your goat. Besides Raw, I am going to suggest / plug another WWE product. I'm still in love with the Daniel Bryan Just Say Yes, Yes, Yes DVD box set. It's completely wonderful. And if you haven't watched... Well, sorry about that. Just dropped my headset there. That'll learn me for not freaking putting it on. But if you haven't watched this set in its entirety, you need to, including this match. At Night of Champions, one of my personal favorites, the United States Championship match is on the line as Daniel Bryan goes against The Miz.
God.
One of my personal favorites.
Damn it. For the last time, it's Daniel Brian. There is no T. He is not Kobe. He is Daniel Bryan.
Now, if he was Kobe, just for sake of argument, you know...
Gunner,
Moving right
please.
along.
Gunner, please.
Moving right along.
Gunner, please.
Well, maybe what should we watch this week in wrestling?
I would suggest going on YouTube and catching any matches of Kana's that you can, given that she's coming into the company. I believe someone has put a recent match between Sakura Hirota from Pro Wrestling Wave recently this year, about a month or two ago. In fact, Kana, I believe, was the Pro Wrestling Wave Grand Champion until she relinquished it as part of her coming to WWE.
This week, we want to suggest that you should watch the Stone Cold podcast with Edge and Christian. It was on the WWE Network. It was the best feel-good podcast that Stone Cold has done as one of these special type things. It was quite awesome. It reeked of awesomeness, to be perfectly honest. There were kazoos, there was kumbaya, and there was a bunch of other stuff that was just pretty awesome. Don't look at me, bro. That's all I gotta say about that. You'll understand it.
How long?
6 seconds.
In jokes.
All right.
In jokes
All right.
abound.
Alright, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate it ever so much. You can check us out at smarkstark.com. You can also check us out youtube.com/smarkstark if you miss one of the episodes. We're on Spreaker, spreaker.com/smarkstark. That's how you're hearing us live over the air. Shout out to our Spreaker followers. You can also check us out online, facebook.com/smarkstark, twitter.com/smarkstark, where we try to interact with you every single week on while Raw and other pay-per-views are going on. You can email us if you're a promoter or a wrestler, because we'd love to have you on the show, smarkstark@gmail.com. And you can also give us a call in, and that number is 812-408-966-WOO.
812-408-9666. That's
9666.
812-408. Woo! That was a pathetic woo. I'm sorry. My heart isn't in it. It's 812-408. Woo! That's better.
Alright, everybody. So you could give us a phone call there. So thank you very much for listening, and we wish you well in your past, present, and future endeavors.
So I was just thinking aloud, if Dean Ambrose...
Oh, God, I wish you wouldn't.
If Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns are still friends, and they're 2/3 of the Shield, would that make them a quarter Shield? You know, like a...
At least he stopped. Omega BR, if you would be so kind.
Good night, Middleton.